Good afternoon, guys. Vish here with the live surgery session for the Ultimate Business Systems Internet Business School weekly surgery session. Okay, I'll be your host for today and going to take you through how to set up a domain for your Ultimate Business System account so that you can actually localize your landing pages and your websites, etc., so they have more of a personalized feel to when you show them to your customers. You don't want to have a generic URL or domain showing there, because it doesn't actually show that you are, a business, doesn't show your brand across. So adding a domain is a very, very important part of the process to make sure that your branding, your visual branding, because your domain also forms part of your visual branding, your landing pages, your websites, etc., all form part of that. It's very important to get that connected in so you can show that and your customers have a branded presence when they land on your website. Now, this can be a technical process. It's actually a very relatively simple one, but it can be a relatively technical process. So you may or may not have questions. And if you do, if you can hold your questions for the parts of the session where I'll open the floor up for questions, you can type them in the chat box and I will try and come to all your questions today. So as with all our sessions, you can, we go to the next slide, 1 second, let's go to view navigator as well. You can actually find your registration for the surgery sessions within your membership area, and you can actually register for the Zoom. And once you register for one, it will give you access to all the other sessions that we host as well. So you'll always be sent the reminder for it with a little email detailing exactly what we're going to be discussing on that week's session. You can also see the link to our YouTube channel, which is where you would want to go to see all these sessions being uploaded as well. So you can always go back to them and refer to them and follow along whilst you're making these updates and changes within your system as well. So it's really important to have your system open once you're doing that, so you can make all these changes, right? It's really important to do that. And here in a surgery session, I might go a little quicker as I'm going through the content, or so might Rog, so might Max. So it's important to know where the recordings are. The recordings are actually kept on our YouTube channel for easy access. You can actually go and follow them on follow the page on the link that I'm about to post into the group. Okay, so if you haven't done so already, go to this link and you can actually go to our YouTube page and click follow, click subscribe, like the videos, especially my ones, because I'm gonna get more likes than Max and Rog do. So it would be great to have your support on there. You can see all of the recordings there as well. Now, if you have any issues with logging in to your members area or any general questions, then the email that you need to make a note of is support@internetbusinessschool.com. Okay, that's support@internetbusinessschool.com, and all of the emails will be picked up and replied to by members of the team, myself included. So if your query relates to something that I can help you with, I definitely will help you out with it. If not, it'll be one of the other team members. But support@internetbusinessschool.com is where you need to go to email if you have any questions around logging in or general questions about the system, etc. And if you haven't done so already, and you want to start access to the Ultimate Business System, you can do so, which is also in the members area. You have a link in there, but you can go and do that by clicking on this link, and I'm going to post that in the chat as well for you to see. So 2 links. One is for the YouTube channel, which you should go over to and subscribe to, and one is for your free trial for 30 days to the Ultimate Business System. Okay, so loads of people on the surgery session today, and I'm going to be showing you how to add in a domain into your Ultimate Business System so you can personalize the branding for any of the pages that you create. Okay, so I'm going to quit my video from over here, and you can already see the screen on your side. I'm just going to share my actual Ultimate Business System login screen so you can see exactly what I'm looking at as well. And this would be very, very important for you, especially when you are following along with the video, and you're making these changes in your own system as well. Okay, so it's important to know that you can do all of the things that I'm showing you today. You can do them on your side as well. Okay, so you should be able to see on your side my screen right now, which is the Ultimate Business Systems dashboard. And this is what you should see when you log in to the system. I'll make the text a little bit bigger so it's easier to follow along. Okay, now when you are looking at this, it can seem a little bit confusing because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of options or tabs to select on the left hand side, and there's a lot of information happening within the dashboard area over here, but do not worry. Okay, all this is here to do is give you an indication as to what is going on within your own system. Okay, now you can actually customize your dashboards, but we'll go to that at a later date. It's not important for what we're discussing about today, which is about connecting in your domain. So to connect in a domain, you need to have a domain purchased. And you can do this using one of the many domain vendors or URL vendors that are available on the internet. Okay, some quite famous ones are, Namecheap, GoDaddy. The one that I use and the ones that we use here at the Ultimate Business System is a platform called FastHosts. Now, what these allow you to do is allow you to log in, search for a domain, make sure that it's not been taken by somebody else. And if it hasn't, then you are able to purchase the domain, usually for a couple of quid if they've got special offers on, but sometimes anywhere from about £5 or £10 upwards for a year. And they will then assign the domain to your name, and you then legally own that domain. You own that address on the internet to host your web pages, your landing pages, etc., etc. So quick question for the group that are on the surgery today. Who has purchased a domain before, or who currently owns some domains? So just type a 1 in the chat box if you already have domains, and type a 2 if you haven't got a domain, you don't own any domains. Cool. Okay, so the large percentage of you do already have domains, so you already know how the purchasing of these takes place. But it's a very simple process. When you log on to something like FastHost, you search for a domain, find the one you want, you click on purchase, add to cart, and then it guides you through the process. You pay the money, and then it gives you a confirmation that the domain is yours. Okay, so once you have that domain, it will look a little bit something like this within your FastHost account. Okay, so this is what my FastHost account looks like. You can see that I have a domain already loaded up. One that I purchased a little while ago. This one's called the Local Lead Machine, but it's called localleadmachine.co.uk. And I've actually navigated over to the advanced DNS settings. Okay. Now every domain registrar will look different. Okay. You will have DNS or advanced DNS or managed domain all within different parts of it. But what you need to remember, and something very important for this part of the process to work correctly, is to ensure that you find out where your DNS settings are kept. Okay, that's DNS. So, Biliana, again, covering this over here right now. So your question, again, we, let's hold it out for parts of the process where we have questions being opened up to the floor. And because usually what I do is I'd actually ask the question and then answer it as well in here. But right now, if you purchase your domain through somebody else, you just need to find out where the advanced DNS settings or the DNS settings are. Okay, DNS means domain name server. So this is basically the routing of your domain and how you send traffic to different parts. Okay, so this is where we would control it from. Okay, the domain registrar that I use and we use here at the Ultimate Business System Internet Business School is FastHosts. Okay, so you can purchase them from here or any other domain registrar you feel comfortable with. Okay, so here you can see loads of different settings. Okay, we have settings around A records, we have settings around AAA records, we have settings around CNAME records, alias records, MX records, SRV records, TXT records, and CAA records. Now, you don't need to know what any of these mean because you're not web developers. And if you are web developers, you'll already know what these records are used for. Okay, the process in the Ultimate Business System to allow you to add a domain into the platform is a guided process. Okay, if you have something like GoDaddy or one of the domain registrars that work through an API with the Ultimate Business System, then it will actually add these records in for you automatically, because it will detect that it's on a registrar that it can do that for, and it will add you in automatically. For the ones that don't, like FastHosts, it's a very simple copy and paste process. And that's why I'm going to show you using FastHosts today what that process looks like. Because if you learn the manual process, then you'll be able to do the guided process, which is where it does it for you very, very easily. Okay, and this is a very, very easy thing to do, because as you'll see in a few moments' time, when we're connecting in the domain in the Ultimate Business System within your accounts, it will actually tell you what record to put into which field, and it will tell you it will be one of these records. Okay, now like I said, you don't need to worry about what they are, because you'll only need to know them if you're a web developer, and if you're a web developer, you'll already know what these fields are used for. Okay, so this is where we're going to update certain settings. Now, I already know that this is the URL, the domain that I would like to add into the Ultimate Business System. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this over. It makes it a lot easier later on when we are pasting this into the Ultimate Business System. It just makes it a lot easier just to copy that over. Okay, so I'm going to go back and share the screen where my Ultimate Business System is right now, and you should be able to see that on your screen. So over here we have loads of different tabs that are available, and right down at the bottom we have this tab that says Settings. Okay, so I'm going to click on Settings, and we're going to go to another list of tabs within your settings, and this now looks way more confusing than the first one did. But don't worry about it, because actually every part of this is very self-explanatory. It's broken it down into different parts. You have My Business, so obviously all the information about your business is contained here. Then you have automations, you have conversation AI, knowledge base, etc., etc. Other settings like objects, custom fields, domains and URLs, they're all located within the other settings down here. So we're going to go down to domains and URL redirects, and you'll already see one external domain has been added in. Now, you may or may not see this internal domain feature within your settings and domains and URL redirects area, and that is because we may or may not have activated the ability to purchase domains through your account. You can do so using the Ultimate Business System. I would always recommend having it outside of the Ultimate Business System. And the reason for this is when you want to transfer a domain over, it becomes quite a long process. If you have that externally to the Ultimate Business System, you still always have individualized control over your domains. So you can move them around, change the record settings within them whenever you choose to do so. Okay, this is a very, very quick fire way to purchase it, and if you have the ability to do so, I would still always have it purchased outside of the system, because then you can you retain 100% control over your domain, etc., etc. Okay, so this part of the process is very, very simple. You can see there's loads of buttons here. There's a purchase or transfer domain. You may or may not see that, but you'll always see a connect a domain button here in the top right hand corner. It's big and it's blue, and it's got a plus sign next to it. Now we want to connect to domain, so I'm going to click on this button, and we'll be presented with a few more options. We can have a domain for funnel, website, store, blog, or webinar, one for email, one for WordPress, one for client portal, and one just as a branded domain. Okay, now this is for when you're sending out links, etc., to people. Now I'm going to connect the funnel, website, store, blog one over here, but the process actually is pretty much similar for everything else apart from email. Okay, we have a slightly different process for email because you have to add a few more records in, but it's really as simple as copying and pasting them over as well. So once you understand the basis of what I'm doing here today, you'll be able to apply it to all the other versions that we have here. So I'm going to click on the first one, which is connect for funnel, website, store, blog, and webinar. And you'll see that it then presents me with a open box where I can type in the domain. And what it says is, it says, connect your domain or subdomain with funnels, websites, stores, webinars, and blogs. This process will add required DNS records to your domain/subdomain for seamless integration with sites. So that will mean that when we go to local lead machine, whatever it was, .co.uk. In fact, let me just paste it in here, the local lead machine.co.uk. We type in that address, it will go to whatever funnel, website, store, or blog or webinar we have attached to that specific URL. So I've copied it into the domain box over here, and I'm now going to click on continue. So what it then does is it then checks with you. It says connect your domain, and here's the domain URL. And it also gives you the option to add in www.localleadmachine.co.uk. Now this part will be your own domain, and redirect traffic to local lead machine recommended. The reason why we want to do this is because when you have records within your DNS settings, your www and your domain title are two separate things. Okay, you have to redirect either your title to your www or your www to your title. Okay, now the way I've done it here, because I've just typed in at localleadmachine.co.uk, it also gives the option here and automatically says that it will add in the www redirect over here. Okay, very important to make sure that you select that when you are adding in your domain or subdomain. Now I have the option to add in the record manually, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on continue just to show you the process that it goes through to search for your domain registrar. And at this point in the process, if you have got GoDaddy, it will just ask you to log into GoDaddy once you click on continue, and it finds that GoDaddy is your domain registrar, and it will then add the records in for you automatically. You won't need to do anything else. Okay, so it's important that we follow this part of the process. So let's click on continue. So setting up your domain, finding your provider details, retrieving DNS records, and finalizing the setup. So now it says set up your domain manually, because it's realized that it can't add these records in because it doesn't have a direct connection with the domain registrar. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note of these. I'm going to actually have both the screens open next to each other, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the tab in here, and then we're going to add the tab to a split view. So we should be able to do that from there. We do that from here. Add to a split view. Perfect. Can't do that. We can. Right. Well, will not let me do it today. Okay. Well, we've got both the tabs open, and I'm going to copy them over in between both the tabs. Okay. So now you can see it's given us two records to add in. Okay. The first is an A record, and it says host, which is the @ sign, and then it gives me a required value over here. So what I want to do is I want to copy this first, and I know that I can just type that in, but I'm going to copy it because I want to make sure that's 100% correct. Okay, we can sometimes make mistakes. There may be spaces that are hidden. So the easiest thing to do, and it may cause a few more clicks, is to actually just copy the address that's in here. So I've copied it, and it shows you a little tick showing that it's been copied. I'm now going to go over to FastHosts. Remember, this is an A record. I'm going to go to my domain. I can see that A records is at the top, and I'm going to click add a record. Okay, now remember it says host name, so I'm going to paste the host name in here, and it should have a points to, which is the second part of the required value, which is over here. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to paste that into the points to section over here. And now I'm going to click on save. It should take a moment to save that, and we can say that it says the DNS record has been added. We're going to click on save, and it has been saved. So now I can go back to advanced DNS, and I should see that the record appears here. Now you'll see a big red flag come up on top, and it says changes made to advanced DNS records for your domain may take up to 24 hours to take effect. This is called the propagation effect. Now, domain name servers globally need to be updated, and I'll show you exactly where I go to check that in a moment's time. I'm going to add the second record in there. Now the second record says that it's a CNAME record, and it also gives me the host over here. So again, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over to FastHosts. We're going to scroll down to CNAME records. I'm going to add a CNAME record. I'm going to copy and paste the host name over here, go back and copy the required value, which you can see has been ticked. I'm going to go back to FastHosts and I'm going to paste that value over here, sitesludicrous.cloud. Okay, might seem weird to type something like that in, but the system knows exactly what to do with that. It's designed in such a way whereby it's able to pick that up. Now, you can see that I added in the A name record and the C name record. And if you remember correctly, for the A name record, I actually put an @ sign in there. Now, the system has not put that in here or displayed it in here because it works in a way whereby it recognizes that that is an @ record or @ host name for this. So don't worry too much if it's not displayed there. It just means that the system has recognized it and it doesn't need to display it because it knows what to do with that A name record. You can see here that the CNAME record has been added in. And again, we've got that red flag up here that says DNS changes are pending and it can take up to 24 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that again, and I'm going to go to a site that is basically what's my DNS.net. Okay, I'm going to post that in the group chat for you to have a look at. Okay, so you can see that what's my DNS.net. Okay, you can take a copy of that and you can check what I'm about to do here. Okay, so I can go back and copy this over, copy that, go to the DNS propagation checker, and I'm going to paste that in here. Now, next to the URL, we have a drop down. And if I drop this down, you can see all the other records that are on there. So you may need to make sure that we're selecting the correct record. Now, I know that I added in an A name record, so I'm going to leave that on A and I'm going to click on search. Okay. Now you can see that the value that I added in, which was 162.159.140.166, which is here, that's that value over there, has already been updated with a certain number of servers. Now, these servers around the world are there for redundancy. You don't need to know how this works, but essentially if one of them goes down, another one can kick back in. But also what this does is it actually spreads the load of activity throughout these servers in the world, because these are routing centers. Imagine the luggage belt at Heathrow. Okay, when your luggage comes off a flight, it goes into this machine that sorts it out and sends it out to the correct belt where it needs to go to. These A name servers around the world do exactly that. So if you're a user in Russia, you would probably go to the one in Tamazi in Russia. If you're in the Indian subcontinent or Pakistan, you would go to either Coimbatore or you'd go to Peshawar in Pakistan. If you're in Australia, you'd go to your local servers over there. It's an easier way to route traffic. Now, you can see that some of these haven't been updated yet. Now, some servers can take a little bit longer, but if I click on search again, you may see that they've all gone through. And yes, they have, right? Quite luckily, they've all been updated. So they've all got green ticks, which means half of the process has been done. Now, remember, we've also got a CNAME record to check as well. So over here, we added in a CNAME record. So we're going to go back and check the CNAME record by dropping down this menu over here, leaving that in there and clicking on the search button. Now, this has not been done. None of the CNAMEs have been updated. And click on search again. No, they've not been pushed through. So these CNAME records have not been updated, even though they've been added into the domain registrar over here. They've been added into FastHosts. They've not yet been pushed out to the rest of the world. Now, we already know that this process can take up to 24 hours. Okay, so once that comes into effect, these will all turn green, much like the A name servers over here have. Okay, these happen very, very quickly, but the C name ones may take a bit longer. Okay, up to 24 hours is the guideline to go by. If they haven't been updated within 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, I would say, then you need to contact your domain host. It's not an Ultimate Business Systems issue. It's a domain host issue, because this is where you're adding in the records. So let's just say in 5 days' time, this for CNAME still remains red, and I've made sure I've added in correctly the CNAME record over here. It's not a Ultimate Business System issue or Internet Business School issue. It is an issue to do with your domain registrar, which is in this case FastHosts. So I would need to get onto support and check with them and see exactly what is going on. Are you with me so far? Relatively easy process, copying and pasting some stuff over. I know I've whizzed through that pretty quickly. Usually this takes about 5 to 7 minutes to do correctly. Just let me know yes, or type a 1 in the box to let me know you're following along. David, yes, all good. Catherine, all good. Arena, very clear. Thank you. Annabelle, Alison, Tony, Michael, all ones. Millie, all good. Thank you. Daryl, Rebecca, 1. Biliana, 1. Yep, great. It's a very simple process. You copy from the Ultimate Business System, copy these records, you pop them into your domain registrar, which is over here. Then you can check if they've been updated. I'm going to be cheeky and check once again. Again, none of these have been updated, but I'm going to go back to here now and do the next part of the process, okay? Because that can take up to 24 hours. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if the records are updated. So I'm going to verify the records, and we click on the Verify Records button. DNS updates could require up to 30 seconds to change. Aren't acknowledged. Please retry. So now I'm going to check if those records have been updated. Now, I have a feeling that the reason why it's taking a little bit longer is because it can't verify the CNAME record at the bottom. It probably has got the ANAME record, but it probably couldn't get the CNAME record. Okay, cool. So it's verified it. It says, congratulations, you can now connect localleadmachine.co.uk with a product. So great, it's verified the records have been added in, and now I can connect it with a product over here. So I would need to check the product type that I'm going to be connecting. Either it's a funnel, a website, a store, a blog, or a webinar. And you can see that every time I select on one of these, it changes the link domain with store, website, blog, webinar at the bottom. Okay, so let's just say it's a website. I don't know if we've got any websites in the out. I think we do actually. I would go to click on website, then click the drop down button, and then click on test. That's one I've made earlier. And then we would also select a default step or page for the domain. Now this is literally your homepage. This is what you'd want your default step to be. There's no pages within there, but we can see that if I go to webinar offers, I can then select products list, cart, checkout, thank you, whatever I wanted to have on there as my default step or page for the domain. And once I've done that, I will then click on proceed to finish, and it would then connect in my URL to that specific product type. Okay. We also have additional options. We can set a 404 or error page, which is a page when the page that you're linking to can't be found. And you can actually create your own error page and save it as an error page and then have it linked in over here. Okay. But we don't have an error page, so we're not going to be linking it in. And I'm just not going to be saving this. So I don't want to overwrite anything that we've already got within this, because this is a live system. I don't want to change that over. Okay, so I'm going to connect it to test, and we can just leave it on proceed to finish, and it will then connect it in. And in fact, I'm going to try that now, see if it does it without a default step page for domain. It should do. It gives it a moment to think. Perfect. Now we can see that that has been added in. Okay. It also says that DNS here, it pulls up quite quickly, as we managed by FastHosts Internet. So it's already pulled out the server, the domain name, or the server or the registrar for me. And we can see that the domain I've added in is www.localleadmachine.co.uk. And the products that I've connected are website. I can go in there, manage it, and add in other products as well. So I can connect in, a funnel if I wanted to, by going in there and just typing that in, going through the process again, following it through and adding in a funnel. I can do that with every other product that I'd want to add in there as well. Now, I didn't set a default page, and so it's asking me here to actually set a default page. I can go back and do that in this part of the settings, okay? And you can also see down here that www.localleadmachine.co.uk is also redirected to this over here. So anything that you have after the www.localleadmachine.co.uk, /offers, /cart, /shop would be redirected to the same address, but without the www. Okay, so it handles all of that rerouting for you, and you can also check to transfer in your site from here as well, which we don't want to do. We're going to leave it on the external host. Okay, we're going to leave it on our FastHosts servers. Okay, so that is how we connect in a domain. Now, if we were to double check this We should be able to go back. If you give me a second, it should already be verified. Let's just double check it here, see if anything's happened to it. Nope, still not updated yet. So we still might not be able to see any activity being passed through because the names have not been passed out. But what this does is it does double checks with your domain name registrar, and it makes sure that that record has been added in, which is already made sure that it has done. Okay. That is how simple it is to connect in a domain into your ultimate business system and connect it into a product. Like over here, we've done website. And if I go back to sites over here and I go to websites and I go to test, there's 0 pages in here. But if I go to settings, we should be able to actually see that it's actually populated straight away. Local lead machine has already been selected as default as my domain in there, which means any pages that I build within the website over here would automatically connect to that website. Okay, that's how simple it is to do that. Like I said, if there's any errors that happen from your DNS not propagating, it's always done through your domain name registrar, and that's why you should go back to them. Over here is obviously the details that I need to discuss that with FastHosts, because they would be able to push stuff through or make sure that there's nothing blocking that change from happening on their side. But we can see how the domain name records have been added in, and they'll populate out here once they get pushed through from FastHosts. That's how simple it is. It's really that easy. Once you get the hang of it and you're doing multiple domains adding in, you'll be able to do that process in anywhere between 7 to 10 minutes time. And that's with making sure that you're doing it correctly as well. Okay, so opening up the floor for questions. If you have any questions about the process, please do ask them in the chat bot. So I have got a question from Irina. Is Namecheap similar or very different? They're all very similar. They just have icons placed in different places. They all do exactly the same thing. So that's why I said when you register your domain, you need to figure out exactly where your DNS settings or your advanced DNS settings are. Okay, usually you can access DNS and then you have to click on advanced DNS, but you would need to find out where that is for your domain name registrar. It's very hard to support all of the ones that are out there, but they will all have a section under the domain which says DNS or advanced DNS settings. Okay, and that's where you'll need to go to copy in your records. So cool. Any other questions? G Charles, you asked the question, is the website developed in, say, WordPress or the UBM? Depends wherever you want to design it. You can connect WordPress in here if you wanted to, but one of the previous trainings that we have done, in fact, I did it, you can actually design your website within here. Okay, so I've got, in fact, I designed a funnel. It's exactly the same thing. You can design it in here. Okay. Michael, how long will it be available for? I wish I could tell you, but if you sign up today, you have 30 days for free. Okay, the offer might change. So if you want to avail yourself of the offer, please do so without hesitation. You get 30 days for free. You can follow along all the videos that we have shot and recorded and posted to the YouTube page, and you can make all these changes and get your system up and running as quickly as possible. The quicker you get it up and running, the quicker you can start selling and making money off it as well. Question from Alexandra. Do we need mailbox at our register? So that's a slightly different process. It's quite a technical question, and there's so many different levers that I'm not going to go into too much detail around it. However, you can use the Ultimate Business System to manage your emails as well, and you can email directly from here. So yeah, that's a totally separate question and not what we are discussing with regards to your domains today, but you can actually connect them in here into your UBS, your Ultimate Business System, and have your emails managed through from here as well. Biliano, sorry if I missed it, but can you have more than one domain connected under one business system? Yeah, we have over here. So if I go to our one and our account, you can see here we have two. We have local lead machine and we have Internet Business School as well. So yeah, you can definitely have two domains connected at the same time. Not a problem. Okay, that's not been updated yet. I was hopeful that it had. Benny, I don't understand the ICANN requirements when setting up a domain. Okay, specifically, what is your question? So ICANN is basically something that is enforced onto registry operators like FastHosts, okay? And it basically means that if you're buying a .com um, or any other kind of site that basically you buy using an ICANN accredited registrar or their resellers, okay? I don't think you need to fill in anything to do with um, uh, ICANN registration as a registrar, but you would do as someone buying a .com. Okay, so if you're buying a .com, you need to share your information. Like within the FastHost account, if I go back, you'd be able to see my personal details, my address, etc., etc. And that's for security because it's to stop for, people operating websites under fraud. Okay, so you'd need to have your registration done for that. Um, because you have to follow strict rules around it. Michael, question from you. You said top level domain. Didn't understand that. Yeah, going back to the ICANN, you definitely need to, excuse me, you definitely need to register your details on there. Just in case anything happens to it. You need to provide a email address and contact information. Okay, that happens with every website. Your .coms will be cancelled if you don't provide ICANN information. Okay, so your registrar will actually cancel it down. Cool. Any other questions? Any more for any more? I feel like I'm at a market stall. Alexandra, you've asked, does it only relate to .com? Just do it. Just do the registration. It does primarily relate to .coms, but yes, please just do the ICANN. Okay, because it adds an extra layer of security to your domain. Okay, cool. Alexandra's the same question. Just do the ICANN registration. It's way, way easier just to do it. The fee for it, which is like 20 cents, is already added into your registration. So, Benny, quite a technical question there. What measures are recommended to protect against the site being hacked? Well, when we add the domain in through to the Ultimate Business System, it gives you a SSL link. So you have the SSL that's connected in there as well. Once that goes through, you'll be able to see it being connected in there. And once my domain is all verified, you would be able to see that that is added in. But you'd have an SSL link on there as well, which is basically a security certificate. And your um, protection comes from, thinking off the top of my head, your protection comes from the platform being hosted and routing through um, Cloudflare. So Cloudflare offers a high level of protection for you as well. Hi, Maxine. Thanks for your comment. We cannot see the questions, so the responses are without context. Yeah, that's why I'm reading out the questions for you, so you can have the context when I read the question. Um, and I'm only reading out the questions that people are typing in here. So, Maxine, do you have a question specifically with regards to another question that someone has asked? Please do let me know. And the question that I have was the training clear? Are you able to follow along and understand how to add in a domain? Any other questions? We don't have any other questions, then I can round up to close off the call. Hi, Tony. Great question. So you have asked, are you saying my GoDaddy provider will secure the domain, etc.? So that's the question that you're asking. The question answer that you require for that is when you add in your domain to the Ultimate Business System, the business system will give you an SSL, okay, a secure socket link, and it will give you a certification for it. Now that's managed through Cloudflare. So if anything was to happen, Cloudflare will defend you against attacks. Now, for someone to hack into your website that's being hosted on the Ultimate Business System, the only way they can do that is by getting access to your Ultimate Business System account. And the only way they do that is if they hack your username and password and your two-factor authentication methods, okay? That's why I always do your two-factor authentication to your mobile phone, your cell phone. Cool, great. Okay, no more other questions. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. Biliana, great comment there. Many things, but clear. Yes, quite a lot to consider. But literally, when you're adding it in, it's copy and paste. And if you're doing it through GoDaddy, it literally does it for you. Okay, so very, very simple. And a quick recap, we added in 2 records. We copied these over verbatim from the Ultimate Business System, and it gave us the information we needed to copy over. And as soon as we've done that, we can see that we've connected in an external domain and we've connected it into a website. We can also connect it into file stores, webinars, blogs, etc., etc., and it will manage the whole process for us. Thanks so much for joining me this week on the live surgery session. I hope to see you guys again on another one. In the meantime, have a lovely week, whatever you're doing, and we'll speak to you soon.